So next fight, surprisingly for a lot of us, happened at 185. We're used to seeing Kevin Holland at 185, but he had taken a break after losing to Brunson and Vettori in two 5-round decisions in which he didn't take a round off of either of them, I'm pretty sure. So still at 185, ranked 14 at 185. And for Kyle Daukaus, he is unranked but has shown all the promise in the world. Great fights like Brendan Allen, a few other guys at 85. It's definitely his weight class. His older brother, I believe it is Chris Daukaus, who's actually the number 10 heavyweight in the UFC as well. And for anyone that watched our show last week or has really watched it for the last month or two or three or four, we're pretty big on the Daukaus train. And it just has to do with the simple fact that a guy like him, a guy like Tom Aspinall, they're these new age, new breed of heavyweights where they move different, they're stronger, not necessarily stronger, but they don't lose speed while still having the same strength as these other guys. So with all that being said, Kyle Daukaus still comes in as the plus 150 underdog, Kevin Holland the minus 175 favorite. And Kevin Holland, as D-Mac and I both alluded to earlier, the Trailblazer, I mean, there might not be a fighter off of the Beefy Boys breakdown that we're actually bigger on than Kevin Holland, at least for their position within the rankings and where they sit, as like just overall fighter, man. Like the dude lives for entertainment. He talks a lot. Big Mouth was his nickname whenever he was on the Contender Series and then made his appearance. So you always want to see Kevin Holland fight because it's just entertainment. Doesn't matter win or lose. Like dude's going to talk trash. He's going to put on a fun fight. Love stand up and strike. But recently he had gone out to work with DC and a few other Johnny Hendricks, to work on his Hendrickistan.
Hashtag Hendrickistan on all his wrestling posts with him. So that was pretty funny. He does have that entertainment factor. He has those things that make you root for a guy. I heard most of what you said, and I'm in lockstep with it. So when I first saw this, like, I'll be real, and I just bought a car yesterday. My first time, like, going to a dealership and buying it. I've bought in cars cash before, but that was my first time, like, big boy purchase. Got me a little hybrid, trying to save that gas money. But
Hyundai Sonata, baby.
Yeah, it's pretty dope, man. I'll be real. I like it. But what I'm getting at here is I almost, if it wasn't for that whole going on yesterday, this was going to be one of the first times that I put down favorite money. Kevin Holland, because earlier in the week you get at minus 150. I thought that was when I looked at this card and I made my picks and I looked at the money lines, even as a slight favorite, minus 150, I loved the minus 150 Kevin Holland bet. I was going to bet more than I usually did. Like, I liked it that much. And it's not that I'm down on Daukaus. It's just like that. I mean, Daukaus, there's really no explanation why this fight was even made, like, besides just hype from Chris.
Okay, like, I wanted to ask you about this, actually, because what happened to Kevin Holland going to 70? Because he still weighed in 2.5 pounds under the actual limit for the fight. Yeah, so he's not cutting.
Because he said that in the octagon, but that's it. No rankings have indicated that. No matchups. No. I think it was like insecurity in the moment following the losses. I don't think, because I feel you. I took him at his word, and we're not like saying we saw this on a blog. Like, he told us with his own mouth that he was going to 170, and we both didn't hate the idea because he had been kind of leaned on
by Brunson and Vettori. Yeah. And he even admitted, like, I don't cut weight to fight here. Like, I just do my camp, I show up, and I weigh 183, 184, 185. And it's not hard for me to make this weight. I feel very comfortable. But you got to think.
I took him at his word. I took him at his word just like you did. But I guess, like, you know what? It's funny because we're the only ones that bring that up. Like, how Chael is the only one that brings up the lineage of the BMF belt. Like, in every video, he, like, brings up like, how this belt has no lineage and, like, and how it's not going to be defended. And that's how we are with Kevin Holland at 170. Like, we're the only ones that gave a fuck that
I thought he was about to make waves 70, bro. Like, and I still think that. That hasn't. So,
all right, so let's dive into this match. Man.
yeah, yeah. Well,
There's
and
a
also,
lot to get to.
yeah, we have so much because I think it's a Beefy Boys first. To be quite honest, it's a first maybe for me watching the UFC to see it go this way.
Oh, let's get into it. This will be a fun one. So we had Kevin Holland by fight time minus 175, but you could get minus 150, like I think even as late as Friday. So
Yeah,
some late money was definitely coming in on Holland for sure. And he was the 14th ranked middleweight fighting Kyle Daukaus, younger brother of Chris Daukaus, who just got the emphatic highlight bonus-worthy knockout on last weekend's card. We're real high on Chris Daukaus. Don't get it twisted. And but yeah, Kyle Daukaus minus 150, younger brother fighting at middleweight. And I guess let's just get straight into the controversy, as they say in Australia. That's really the story of this. We could break down the first
there's
minute
no
or
actual
whatever.
fight to break down. I mean, you could talk about Kevin Holland talking to DC as he's commentating the fight. I don't. Okay, perfect. So like, dude, whenever he got locked up under the arm and around his head and was just being held there before they broke the position, before Murgliata stepped in and broke the position, and DC was like, yeah, it's just tough. Kyle Daukaus is real long. And, dude, Kevin Holland returns that and goes, so long, DC, so long. And I was like, bro, fight the fight.
Well, no, I loved every second of it, man. That's why
I love it. I'm not saying I was saying that, but it's like in my head, I'm like, dude, how do you step your attention away from the guy that's literally grappling you in a fight right now?
Well, so what was even better than that was the Kyle Daukaus' first takedown attempt, which kind of resulted in a dope scramble, which is dope because that alone is progress for Kevin Holland. Because in the Brunson and the Vittori breakdowns, it was like, oh, you attempted a takedown, you got a takedown. There was a 1-to-1 ratio. And and I'm sure that's what Daukaus saw. All I got to do is double like this guy. And Daukaus shot, and it resulted in a beautiful scramble. Actually, it wasn't a beautiful scramble, but it was enough to keep it on the feet, which is all we ever asked for Kevin Holland. And he refused to accept and play along, and he didn't want to play the bag jiu-jitsu game, as Chael always talks about. And he would just refuse to fucking leave his feet. And it wasn't pretty, and it wasn't stylish. But it was exactly what we wanted to see from Kevin Holland.
I think someone, Johnny Hendricks, obviously, got in his ear and was like, why don't you just look what Adesanya does? Like, it's like being a table. Like, just be long. Just be as long as you are.
Yes, 100%.
Because, like, bro, if you can't take more than 1 or 2 points of contact off the mat, you're not getting that takedown. And then whenever he did get down on the hip, he immediately got posted on the elbow, got right back up, wall walked on the fence, and then looked over at DC, as you're probably alluding to, and was like, how's that for takedown defense, DC? A little better, huh?
A little better. It was a little better. That's the perfect way to describe it. He didn't say it was perfect. He didn't say it was the best you've ever seen. He said it was a little better, and that's all we fucking wanted, right? Like we wanted.
That's all it needed to be. That's all it needed to be was just a little better.
And so I'm fucking sky high on Kevin Holland when he's defending these takedowns, and I'm like, oh yeah, what I tell you, Daukaus doesn't deserve to be in there with him. This is an outclassing. This is a bad
in fact, Murgliata separated him because Daukaus couldn't do anything with the advantageous position on the right. It was literally just holding him there, and that's not the way to win a fight. So I'm glad they split him up, but immediately off the break, they go in for a.
Do you remember the
exchange.
timestamp on that?
It was like 1:40 whenever they connect heads. I'm pretty sure.
Wow, that's so fast.
Super early. Early. So they connect heads. No, I'm sorry. It was 2 minutes 40 seconds when they connected heads because there was about a minute afterward where they scrambled and got it all figured out. But what it ends up happening is essentially the top of the forehead of Kyle Daukaus runs right into the jaw of Kevin Holland.
Yeah, like right on the button. You hear us talk about the button. Like if you're familiar with combat sports, you know about the button. Like it's essentially like the hinge of your jaw. Like it doesn't even have to be the hardest shot. Like, but if you get touched on like the hinge of your jaw, it's generally like you can have a flash KO without like
And I think shout out to Kevin Holland in this or DC, I'm sorry, DC in this aspect for noting when that happened afterward. He was like, yeah, I've been headbutted like that in practice. He was like, it's harder than any punch you can take if you're leaning into it because one, you don't see it, and two, it's literally your skull instead of your knuckles.
You're essentially getting hit in the jaw with a bowling ball.
Right. That's literally almost exactly what it is.
Almost identical. Yeah.
Right.
No, it's gnarly. And bro, so I'll be real. I mean, I doubt I'm going out on a limb here, and you probably felt the same way. As soon as the clash of heads happened, like as soon, like I'll be real, like it wasn't hindsight 2020. I knew in the moment. I literally looked at my wife. I was like, "That's a no contest. That's a no contest." Like, and then he got the finish. Like I'm telling you, I was saying no contest before he even got the finish.
Well,
and as soon as the clash of heads happened. And because I saw Holland go out in real time. I didn't need the replay.
I knew he was out. I knew he was out. Whenever he dropped face first and his knees hit the ground about the same time as his chest.
The chin.
Super good chin.
He doesn't go.
I've never seen him
like
get dropped. I've never even seen him get dropped like that.
Exactly. No, I was like, oh, that's a no contest. I was saying it like from Jump Street, like from like real time the moment I saw it happen.
Now, here's where it is like a really crazy situation because as they start, so just for people at home, what ends up happening is Daukaus, of course, takes his back because Kevin Holland's flash KO'd, comes to as soon as Daukaus is like on him, tries to defend, is literally given the position from being flash KO'd by a headbutt, which is not, can't do that, right? So then taps out after standing back up with him on his back, getting choked out, taps out. And then, you know, they call it right there as a win for Daukaus via submission. But before they officially announced it, Mergliata had waived for the replay to be enacted.
Thank God. So, that's his saving grace.
That's right, because he messed up. He messed up huge. Because he said, I saw him go out. I saw him fall face first. You saw me running to stop the fight, and then I saw him defend himself.
But
bro,
I
don't care.
That afterwards.
Right. My point is
he didn't say that in the moment.
But my point is yeah, my point is, like, if you saw them connect heads and one guy dropped, you need to go in and stop it right there. Right there. You don't need to let it continue because the guy got dropped off an illegal shot. Why would you let the sequence continue?
Yeah, no, Nina said the same exact thing. She was like, yeah, no, that fight was over right then and there. He should have stepped in. And then if he would have stepped in there, maybe he doesn't even get finished. Maybe it's not a no contest. Maybe he lets Kevin Holland recollect his thoughts. Maybe he deducts a point from Daukaus. And maybe they finish the fight, because Kevin Holland and Mergliata's, like, I guess, like, his version of the story. Kevin Holland did recover from the flash KO really fast, but that's credit to Kevin Holland. That has nothing to do. That's like Kevin Holland's chin. Like, that's not what this really boiled down to, you know, in my opinion, and it eventually proved. I'm just saying I was borderline. I had no faith in like the system to like do the right thing. Like
I thought they were going to give a submission win to Kyle Daukaus. I really thought that until finally
Gerald was alluding to that.
But guess who saved it? Because they had the refs mic'd up as they always are. Herb Dean was the guy that saved it because he goes and tries to whisper to Mergliata, which this was stupid. Like, you're mic'd up, we can hear everything you're saying. Stupid. So like he tells Mergliata, it's your decision what happens here, but like if I were you, I'd probably rule a no contest just due to the fact the sequence only occurred because of the illegal blow. But it's your choice.
I think this is a fair statement to make. And if somebody wants to go through the footage and call me on this, feel free. Give us those views. But I think this was the first time that I was, like, stoked for a no contest. Like,
yeah, me too.
Like,
and also the way they talked to each other afterward. That they were like, let's run it back immediately. Kevin Holland was like, whenever you guys want it, like, I'm good. I have no injuries. Like, whatever card you want to put it on.
I heard. Kevin
they shook hands. Like, they shook hands on it on film. If he backs out now, I'll be pissed off because you can't shake a man's hand like that.
I heard Kevin Holland call for it 97 times. I didn't know if Daukaus agreed to it.
So right after the no contest thing, he looks over at him because they're like talking. And he goes. He literally looks at me and goes, hey, Kyle, and he like looks up at him. He's like, you down to run this back? Like, as soon as we can get on the next card, like, whenever y'all are ready with your camp, like, whatever you got going on, cool. But, like, whatever card, like, I'm free. Like, I'm ready to go. And really put his hand out, like handshake.
Kevin Holland.
Yeah, like handshake deal, and Kyle was like, "Yeah, let's run it," and like shook his hand, and like,
Okay.
now it's on film. It's in like verbal audio. Like if Kyle Daukaus doesn't fight Kevin Holland, I'll have a problem with him as a man.
It's still a good fight for Daukaus, right? Because
Yeah, it's a top 15 opponent.
If he does win, like if he wins for real, he's for real. Because we all respect Holland.
And he kind of got to see the new outline of how Kevin Holland's going to fight, which is with good takedown defense. So maybe it helps him strategize better for the next time they fight.
Yeah, no, because you're right. If he does it, but it's weird though. You know how the UFC is about rematches that aren't like title fights. You know, it's not.
This one just has to be made though, because it's such a weird sequence of events, and the fight didn't even get out of the first round, so there's no scorecards. Like, there's really nothing to lean on other than like, bro, you headbutted him and dropped him, and then the ref didn't do his full ass job.
I'm glad that like the community and the fans, we're kind of all in a consensus. There's not a lot of controversy. This is one of the few no contests I feel like most people are behind.
Absolutely. That's a great point. And then when Kevin Holland was leaving the octagon, he even walked past Sean Shelby, made a point to stop and looked at him, and I couldn't necessarily hear everything he was saying, but he essentially said, like, hey, Kyle said he's down to run it back. Like, I'm free for whatever card you want to put me on. So whenever you want me to fight, let me know. Like, I'm down to fight this dude tomorrow.
Yeah. And that's why you love Kevin Holland.
It's on brand. Like, that's Kevin Holland.
I love it. Yeah, for sure, man.